What's going on, guys? What's going on? If you guys can do me a favor, let me know if you guys can hear me. I'm usually not the first one on, so it gets a little weird for me. And I know there's a little bit of a delay and whatnot. For Shave Day, what's going on? Bullseye Brushworks, how's it going? Of course, the boy Junior, John Sarah, hello, how's it going, guys? We are just waiting for Douglas to pop on. Oh, Zach, that is a brilliant, brilliant reminder. I gotta put on that do not disturb sus. Because every time. Alright, guys, so we're gonna get this going pretty soon. What's up, Steve? Thank you for joining in. Magic Mike, what up? So, guys, first and foremost, we want to start off with, well, obviously, it's a little different that I'm starting off the show as opposed to Chris. Um, if you guys are religious, if you are spiritual, or any way you want to classify it, please send a prayer out to our friend and member of the community. Some of us may even consider him family. Send him a prayer. Chris is going through a little bit of a family emergency. He himself is fine and healthy, but he is having a little bit of a difficult time. So please send those prayers. Send those those happy thoughts, those good vibes towards Chris and his family. So today, in case you guys didn't see the marketing, we do have Douglas and Fran. I am putting them on right now, and we're gonna get this show on the road. Douglas, what's up, buddy? Oh man, so it's gonna be like a round robin situation. You're gonna like tag Fran in or something, or if you guys can even back up, if you guys can back up maybe a little bit, cause yeah, we cannot see Fran at all. Oh, there we go. We actually got you guys both in right there.
Yeah, it's on.
Good, perfect. Okay, perfect. Can you guys hear me? Cool and everything?
Yes. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you guys are coming in loud and clear. I just wanted to make sure because it's always a little awkward for me. Usually I'm the guy at the bottom of the screen. Usually Chris is running the show, and I get to kind of just be a bit of a jerk off. And
Daddy's on top.
yeah, that's right, baby. So hey guys, so welcome to another episode of Real Talk. As you guys noticed, Chris is not with us today. If you guys are a little bit late to the show, Chris is having a little bit of a family emergency, so please send your prayers and your positive vibes, your well wishes towards him and the family. Hello, Huxley. It's nice to see Huxley in the show. And yeah, so we're going to get this show on the road. First off, it's been a while since I've actually got to see you guys. I got a little spoiled because you were out here in California 2 or 3 times a year before this whole pandemic hit. So how are you guys?
Good. And you know, before we get started, David, I'd like to dedicate tonight's show to Tom Brim's dad, Tom Brim Sr. He just passed, I think, this morning. So sending the good vibes and our condolences his way.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I had no idea that Tom Brim's father had passed away.
Yeah,
yeah, prayers to the Brim family. I like Tom Brim. He is a character. He's like 1,000 years old, so I could only imagine how old his father was. I think they have a lifespan in that Brim family similar to that of Yoda. So I could only imagine the things that man has seen. I am joking, guys. Please don't be offended. But yes, prayers and well wishes to the Brim family as well.
Yeah, but we've been doing good. I mean, since the shutdown, we've just been shut in and just doing what we need to do, staying at home and going to work, and that's pretty much it.
Yes, we've been very busy. Actually, I was in California a couple weeks ago, actually.
Yeah, she did go to California.
Just for like a day.
For a day, literally a day.
It was beautiful, but just
for a day.
Drove in, drove out. I have an aunt that lives out there.
So that doesn't even really count.
No.
But
I was in
she spent more time in the car than in California.
Mm-hmm. That was fun.
Yeah, that's a tough. I don't think I can't do that. I'm not much of a car trip person. I get antsy being in the car for a long time. So if I'm gonna travel somewhere, I gotta be there a few days, or else I just get frustrated.
Yeah.
And with you guys saying that, we're coming to California real quick.
Yeah. Well, we so busy that I more than a day just isn't possible right now with everything. It's just been crazy for us this whole year. So
Fran is not vegan.
what?
No, just someone's asking if you're vegan.
Oh no, I'm not vegan.
Well, guys, unlike when Chris is running the show, we will get to questions, guys. So if you guys in the audience have a particular question that you guys would like me to ask Douglas and Fran, please feel free to drop them in the question box down below. We will get to those. Yeah, we got you. You guys will be taken care of in terms of the questions. You coming to California just for a day real quick? Fran probably answers my question, but has Douglas been driving you crazy? Because I know he is a big child. I could only imagine how it could be keeping him indoors that often.
Okay, so Douglas is a model for COVID responsibility. He has pretty much basically not left the house since March. But see, he doesn't leave the house, so I keep him at home, and then I go to work, and it works great.
Yeah,
so.
That's exactly.
There you go. There you go. You definitely have to get some alone time, because I could only imagine.
Well, because what he does mostly is a lot of marketing and talking to people online, and our roles are really separate. So it's that, since we have a separate facility, we can kind of.
I've been pretty responsible, and Fran will do the shopping too. So there's we try to keep the impact really low when it comes to doing anything outside the house, and just we just been being very responsible in regards to this whole COVID thing, and just can't wait for it to go away.
Yeah. I mean, he's literally I think to take Huxley on walks, and
that's not true. I'm in the lab most of the time, but I lock myself away. Try not to interact with any of our employees or any of that stuff.
It's been okay.
So, that's good. I'm happy you guys are dealing with the whole pandemic reasonably well. I know even from myself, I'm getting frustrated dealing with it. We do pretty good with it. We stay home for the vast majority of the time. Maybe just about 2 weeks ago, we went out to dinner at an outdoor venue for the first time since the pandemic hit. So we've been pretty responsible, but it gets a little crazy being indoors all the time. So it was nice to just get some fresh air and just enjoying a meal with Rocio.
Yeah. I mean, tonight's our movie night, and we're going to have to do that inside again. It's Borat, though. It's streaming free tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Rocio has never seen Borat.
This is the most exciting thing that's happened in weeks, so it's a big
deal. Man. So Rocio has never seen Borat. She has never seen it, and I'm like, it is stupid, but I love it. So I am going to actually show her the original Borat very soon in hopes that she will want to see the second one.
Oh, I mean, the second one's supposed to be, there's going to be some some jaw-dropping stuff from what I understand. And it's, again, tonight's the only night it's free, so you might have to do it out of sync. But I think she'll dig it. Knowing what I know about Rocio, I think she'll like it. So, I
really hope so. Because, dude, I just loved Borat. It made me cringe, some of the stuff that he was doing, because he's actually messing with real-life people. So it's a wild movie.
Yeah. I don't know how I'd feel if I was one of those people, but because I'm totally a target for someone like that too. So I mean, that's just I was always. Even Ali G was the same way, confrontational, improv, and Ali G was great.
And you'll talk to anybody.
Yeah,
you will talk to anybody. Right? So you are the perfect candidate to get sucked into one of those things because you want to socialize with people. So if this maniac comes up to you saying crazy stuff, you'll get into a real conversation with them and just hoping for the best.
And he's really, it's funny because he actually seems more comfortable in his own skin when he's playing a character than when he does an interview. I've seen a few interviews with him over the last year, and he doesn't seem as comfortable, and it's just so it's just an interesting I don't know, contrast, but fascinating nonetheless. And I'm looking forward to getting my yucks out tonight.
Well, I hope you guys do enjoy it. Right after this show, I'm going to go jump on and watch the Dodger game. Dodgers are in game 3 of the playoffs. I'm a huge sports guy, so that's what I'm going to be consumed with for at least a couple hours after the show's finished.
Sounds like fun.
Very good. Yeah.
So you guys, so we know that you're always up to something in terms of your guys' creativity, the products that you're pushing out. What's the next big thing that Phoenix is trying to do?
Hotel Cecil.
Mhm.
Hotel Cecil. And for the people that are watching that are not too familiar with Hotel Cecil, what is it?
This is actually just a little booklet that the first 50 people to order it are going to get the story in book form. But Hotel Cecil is possibly one of the most, I mean, if you're into the paranormal, you probably already know this and whatnot, but it's probably the most haunted hotel in the universe, in the known universe. Definitely in the United States, it's considered to be the top one. Since it was built in 1924, opened in stores in 1927, it's had nothing but one strange experience after another transpire on the grounds. And supposedly in every single one of the 700 rooms, a person has died in. There's been suicides. There's been psycho killers that have stayed there. I mean, it's such a sordid place. And it's on Skid Row in Los Angeles. So location is probably key as well. But it's just so much spookiness and strangeness has happened there that it's just like this hub of not necessarily evil, but just paranormal activity if you subscribe to that.
Strange phenomenon.
Strange phenomena. And I thought that what could be more perfect a homage, especially for Halloween, than to the Hotel Cecil. And in particularly, Burma Shave. This is actually a reboot of the original Burma Shave scent, which, like the Hotel Cecil, was also born in 1924. And like the Hotel Cecil opened its doors in 1927, Burma Shave started using its roadside poetry, this type of stuff, in 1927 as well. So there's some parallels and a slight correlation there. And you can let your imagination run wild with that, knowing that people that were staying there back in the day were definitely using Burma Shave, bringing two of it with them on the road, because what could be more convenient than a brushless shave soap? And I'm sure they were driving by these signs as they were getting to that place to stay, the Hotel Cecil. So it has a shared history, whereas the Hotel Cecil's trajectories probably went like this. Burma Shaves went like that. Probably the best marketing campaigns, guerrilla marketing, untested marketing, most successful of all time when it comes to American icons, I think. Their roadside rhymes. Marketers at that time couldn't believe how successful a campaign it was. That ran till pretty much the 1960s, if not the 1950s, only because traffic speeds started changing, superhighways came into the fold, so you didn't have enough time to read the rhyming signs as you flew by them. But back in the day, when driving became the thing in the mid-20s, that's when Burma Shave was born, and it grew up alongside of the automobile industry. So it's a really fascinating brand. The story itself of Burma Shave is awesome, but then combining it with the interesting story of the Hotel Cecil, I think it's like a double homage that I think is rather fitting for this time of year. And the scent is not necessarily a fall scent, so it may, depending on the demand, it may stick around all year. But we do want to get it out for Halloween, in time for Halloween. And I absolutely love this scent. It's magical stuff. And I know you are going to like it, especially. It's got that spicy, powdery, classic. I cannot believe that this has been gone from our noses in the wet shaving world for so long. I mean, it's just such an iconic scent that I'm really proud to bring it back. It's just, I've been calling it scent archaeology, what we do. Instead of finding something saying, this belongs in the museum, this belongs in a shave den. I mean, it's a crime is being committed if it's not there. So super stoked about that. And it's coming, folks. It's really coming, and I appreciate your patience.
Well, I'm a huge fan of this genre. of scents that you guys produce. But do you ever fear that reviving some of these old plastic aftershaves may get redundant for some people? They may get burnt out or feel that maybe you're kind of limiting your own abilities by sticking to the old school spicy type of scents?
No, because we do both. We do original scents and we do these. So we're playing. I mean, we have over at any given moment we have almost 70 cents, and we do a healthy smattering of both. Though I do hear people saying all you do is dupes. It's like if you think all we do is dupes, you're just not paying attention, because we do interesting, original, innovative scents, and that inspiring scents. I think we've definitely inspired a lot of other folks in what we do. They're paying attention. But for anyone that thinks that we just do dupes, and even though we do a bunch of dupes, these are dupes that no one else is doing that need to come back. They need to be revived. I really am passionate about rebooting these. I feel like they are truly lost, and no one else is going to do them. So yeah, I think we're doing a service to the community. And if someone doesn't want to dupe, they can get one of our original scents. But we you know us, we do everything. We do a little bit of everything. We do razors. We do hardware, software. We're not just making soap and aftershave here. So you can't compare us to really anybody in that way. I don't think so, anyways.
Oh, I absolutely agree. You definitely don't have to convince me. But again, since I think almost all of your revivals of aftershaves, I look at them as like, damn, I like them all. I wouldn't want to part with any of them. But if somebody just so happens to get all those, and most of them, they have elements to them that are similar, but there's always something that sets them apart that's pretty relevant. But still, if somebody can pick up a particular note, I could imagine some customers will complain whenever they can. And if you've ever gotten maybe those complaints that, oh, don't you think it's the same shit over and over again?
Yeah, I don't. And I mean, if they were that close and that similar, I wouldn't do it. But I think these are important scents, and for historical reference alone, I think people need to get their nose on it. And because I mean, you've got to go back in time. Yeah, there you go. To really understand what was going on back then, just to understand what's going on right now. And that's a great scent right there too. You know what I mean? Like the Diver Down, that's a lost scent. That was lost up until now. So I mean, like, I really think a crime was being committed. There's so much, I talk about this a lot, at least in my lives, how so much has been lost to us. It's a good thing wet shaving, or the interest in wet shaving, came around in the early 2000s, thanks to the internet, because up to that point, we'd already lost so many different razors, different hardware, different software that we're only now rediscovering, if we're rediscovering, and we're not. There's a lot that's lost. So just to bring back a small amount that we have, I think we're doing a service, and it's an important job. I really think so. As a collector of vintage aftershaves, I mean, I love these. I have them in my kitchen even. I mean, I cherish so much. I mean, look at this. I use them decoratively even, but I mean, like, it's really an important thing. At least I think so.
Well, and it's not, if you do a vintage recreation, you're not limited from doing something completely like we don't experience doing a scent as eliminating the possibility of doing something different, original. I mean, there's just it's not like, we don't sit down and say, well, we're only going to do 15 cents this year and this is what they have to be. Oh, we can't do that 16th one. We just do it anyway.
If the spirit moves us, we do whatever we want. And
we try to listen to, we get hundreds of suggestions every month from people as well. A lot of times, because of these revival type scents, people are sharing these stories about, oh my gosh, it'd be so great if you brought this back. This reminds me of my grandfather, or this is about, or this scent connects me to the story, or something. So there's a lot of depth and meaning for people on all different kinds of levels with the recreations, which is really great. And then the original scents or the gourmand scents of the novelty things are really fun as well. But these recreations, this sort of like retelling of history and revitalization is fun for us, but we feel like it also gives us the best experience and connection with the people who enjoy products. I mean, that's been my experience just from talking to them.
And it fills in a lot of knowledge gaps. I mean, like, when I do a reboot, we just don't reboot something and put it up on the site. We tell the story too. And I mean, we've been doing that forever. But I think that's an important piece of the reboot. It just doesn't end with dropping a soap in an aftershave. You're going to get the whole story too. I mean, especially with like Seaforth, we explored how Old Spice, that we all know of today, probably wouldn't exist as they do today if it wasn't for them competing constantly with Seaforth back and forth. So Seaforth plays a relevant part of the history of even Old Spice. So I think it's good to be knowledgeable of, especially if you're participating in the wet shaving world, of the history of wet shaving and traditional shaving and male grooming in general. I think it only gives you gives one a deeper appreciation of what we're doing. Because what is traditional shaving?
Absolutely.
Emulating what's been done before.
It's one of these things, the situation we have right here, I really enjoy what we got going on right here, because I obviously like to talk a lot, but to be able to sit back and see people that talk about what they're doing in a hobby that I love so passionately, and you're able to fill up easily 5 to 10 minutes talking about one aspect of what's going on. And I'm not saying that, oh, it's good that I don't have to do anything, but it's just so cool to see people that are passionate, clearly passionate about what you guys are doing.
He wrote a book
Yeah.
about a soap set.
My next question now is actually going to be directed towards Fran. So you're going to have to sit there quietly for a little bit there, Doug. I know it's going to be fucking difficult, possibly even heartbreaking. But this is something that I actually wanted to hear Fran's opinion on. So, Fran, it's obviously a very male-dominated hobby. And most of the scents that you guys have to develop are men. Now, I know some scents could be close to unisex, but the majority of what is going to appeal towards the men. What keeps you motivated, or what aspect of this really keeps you inspired and creative?
Because they're not feminine scents necessarily. Well, I think for me, I don't relate to the fragrances that way, actually, at all.
Yeah, you either like it or you don't.
Yeah, there's some I love and some I hate, and it isn't because I don't think of a fragrance in terms of who's going to wear it. I'm just around it, because even if a guy is wearing a scent, it's because he wants other people around him to enjoy it. So I mean, a lot of these fragrances are really trying to appeal to women as well. I mean, just in a different way than than the woman applying perfume. So, so for me, I don't know. I just think it's a little bit different we've been doing this for a long time.
Almost 9 years.
Yeah. I think of fragrance completely differently than when we first started. I don't think of stuff in terms of like, do I like it or not? Would I wear this? Would I not wear this? Or things like that. But I just kind of like, I don't know. It's more sort of like, what's my relationship with this fragrance? What does it remind me of? Every fragrance causes something in my mind to get. I don't know how to answer that, but just like
trigger.
It's just not. Yeah, I don't think that whether it was women's fragrance or not, I don't think it would change the way that I experience and enjoy the work that I do. I think that mostly like, I mean, I'm really just talking to customers a lot all day long. And the thing I love the most is when people tell me, how much they enjoyed something or how something like, I don't know, we get these crazy stories that just like blow my mind that our products could be a part of this experience for somebody, or that it solved a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what's meaningful to me is we're just making soap and aftershaves, but the impact it has on people's lives and these different fragrances. The reason we have 70, 80 fragrances is to just try to give something to any kind of person who might walk towards us. So a lot of what I do is make recommendations, and try to help people think about what they'd like or what might be appealing to them. And I don't know if that answers your question, but each fragrance is just like a different it's like a different being, and I have a different relationship with it, I suppose. I don't know.
When you wake up every morning, what part of Phoenix Artists and Accoutrements, what part of your job do you look forward to doing the most?
That's my
Yeah.
question for me. Oh, what do I look forward to? Getting all the orders out in one day. Oh my gosh, we're so busy. You know, part of it too is like our business has grown enough that we have the great staff now. I mean, we have, you know, 4 full-time employees. So going to work and seeing them and feeling like we're providing a good environment for them to, you know, enjoy their work. And, you know, for both of us is just, I think super rewarding. But, you know, it's just, we have a culture of Phoenix shaving that we have out there in the world. And then there's like an internal culture that we have. And I think kind of keeping that really healthy is, you know, especially now with COVID and we're not getting out and around and we're not really exposing ourselves to people so far outside of our bubble.
Yeah, we're like monks. We're like oak monks.
So like for us to go to work and be with our staff and work together and see that I mean, you know, that they get interested in what we're doing. And I love watching their eyes light up when they experience a new fragrance and they really like it, or, you know, that's my day is working with our staff and trying to do an amazing job and have fun. And
they don't know anything about the forum. That's the thing too, is like we have this, as she was saying, we have our own little world at work, and then there's the forum life. So like, they don't know anything about drama and any of that stuff. It's just, you know, they're coming to work, they're enjoying their job, and it's kind of nice actually. You know, there's no drama at all, and it's just doing what we love to do, making soaps, making splashes, and you know, it's neat. We're very lucky.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited for you guys because, Doug, I've known you since you were doing it kind of on your own, and then the transition between Pedal Pusher's Fancy and How to Grow a Mustache. So, and then now to see that you guys have grown to 4 employees, that's cool, man. That's exciting that I've been able to kind of see that transition, see how busy you guys have gotten, and to be able to live, not saying that you guys are wealthy or anything, but to live comfortable and be happy in what you guys are doing. That happiness is the ultimate goal. You could have $1 billion and still be a miserable bastard. But it's still nice that you guys are comfortable and happy, and it just looks good on you guys.
Yeah, we work hard. We're not wealthy. Wealthy is definitely, when you're wealthy, you don't have to work. So we're not wealthy, but all we do is work. So, I mean, it's like, it's what we've combined all of our passions into this business. So it's like, I call it work, but it's really just life. And, it's our life, and we just, again, very grateful to do what we do.
Yep.
That's great. That is great. Guys, for those of you guys who weren't here at the beginning, we will be getting to your guys' questions. So if you guys want to hit the little question mark box down at the bottom, and we will be answering your guys' questions. Feel free to drop anything. You guys know, real talk, even if the questions are a little bit uncomfortable, we will absolutely ask them. We don't shy away from things here. Now, whether you like the answer or not, I don't guarantee shit, and that's okay. That's what we do here. So, one of the big, at least once every episode, I make Chris very uncomfortable with the things that I say. So it may be only a matter of time before I say something crazy.
I put up with your shenanigans for 3 years on the Wet Shavers Roundtable. There's nothing you can do to stop it.
So, this big ass controversy is becoming a big deal. A lot of people talking about fragrance burns in soaps. What companies are giving people reactions, how bad they are, and if soap companies should be adjusting what they do to tailor to those customers. First off,
it's part of the problem, actually, right there. But go on.
Oh, I have an opinion on that too.
Why that's part of the problem. Just to outline that or underline it. Part of the problem is people are always saying they want stronger scents. Oh, I give this a 10. They even have a rating system. So that right there is sending the wrong message to kitchen cooks or to new artisans that don't realize there's a safe usage when it comes to fragrances. So no matter how hard your customers are begging for stronger scents, it might not be in their best interest or your best interest to take that to heart. because there is safe usage guidelines when it comes to using fragrances. But go on, what were you saying?
So first off, what do you think is the number one reason why somebody, whether it be minor itchiness to actual burning, peeling skin type of situation? What would be the major, the most relevant cause to that?
Fragrances, essential oils or fragrance oils.
And do you
Yeah.
feel that? Oh, go ahead, Fran. Go ahead.
Well, people will have a variety of different types of reactions to any number of different components of a, natural essential oil or a fragrance oil or whatever. And, some of that is just the compounds. We don't know all the time what somebody's allergic to. There's no way you could necessarily dissect a fragrance and specifically test for just straight thing. Yeah. Some things are just known irritants like clove or cinnamon. The orange naturally makes you photosensitive. It could be the shave too. If the shave was really rough and then they're using afterwards, it's really with alcohol, it's really drying. Their skin's already dry. Maybe you're
causing irritation with a rough shave. And she makes a good point. A lot of people talk about fragrances, or is it the soap? But many forget that animal hair is also an allergen too. So that brush that you're using, you could be allergic to, or maybe just that day you are. Sometimes your skin's more sensitive on one day versus another day. So if you're already irritating your skin with just a little bit of pokiness with that, and then you add a shave soap on top of that has maybe some type of irritant in it, you're begging for a reaction. And when that happens, I usually move people over from face lathering. If they love the scent so much they can't part with it, at least before you give up that soap, try a bowl lather. So you're not lathering on your face so intensely, creating more of an irritation. Now you're just painting on the lather you've created in a bowl, so you might not react to it that way. But yeah, it's usually the fragrance oil first. And I'll tell you, fragrance oils, synthetic fragrance oils, can have up to 4,000 different ingredients in it. So that's why it's Occam's razor. I always look there first. People are allergic to everything nowadays. People seem to be more allergic than they were in the past to things. I mean, at least we're talking about it more. There's more an awareness around peanut allergies and everything else. So when you have something that has over 4,000 ingredients, possible 4,000 ingredients in it, chances are that's what you're going to react to, or at least something in there. And the thing is, the FDA only requires you to label or put on your ingredient label fragrance oil. But that's just an umbrella term. I mean, under that fragrance oil, there can be about 4,000 different ingredients in there. So whenever I see companies saying only 5 ingredients and one of the ingredients is fragrance oil, it's that's not really true. I mean, it could be 5,000 ingredients. I mean, if you really want to be honest about it. But so right there, that reason alone is why you should first look and consider maybe it's the fragrance oil. But then people also have this misconception that essential oils are better than fragrance oils, which is not necessarily the case because they're natural. But I mean, as Fran points out often, snake venom is also natural, but it will still kill you. So I mean, natural versus synthetic is really. Synthetics were invented for the perfume industry for a good reason, because a lot of fragrance oils don't exist in nature, so you have to recreate them synthetically. And there are good ones and bad ones, as with anything. But so that's the first reason why I would look at a fragrance oil as the cause of some type of irritation. And I've been following this in the community for the last week, thanks to Marion and Chris PMing me here and there and sending me videos. But I know there was some speculation on lye also, right?
Well, one theory that I've been hearing is the amount of time people are curing their soaps. Does the amount of cure time that you give your soaps, can that determine whether you are allergic or reacting to an oil? I don't know if the saponification of it, if something's not integrating properly. I don't know if you're rushing a soap off the line, can that have an effect?
I would say it's very unlikely because saponification is just a chemical reaction that will occur during the cooking process. And if you had too much lye in your soap is just not going to behave correctly. You're gonna know. Like with cold process soap, if you don't mix it or if you don't create like a stable emulsion, you'll end up getting soap separating. You'll see like oil slicks everywhere. You'll get these little pockets of lye because the cold process soap's going to get hard. With a hot process soap, you're cooking it. I mean, we cook our soap for so long that unless we like really screwed up the lye ratio, there's just not like, if we put the right things in the pot, we're going to get the result that we're predicting. And if there is something wrong with that, like for example, if we forgot to put an ingredient in, we would know because it just wouldn't be right. Like it wouldn't behave correct. Like we wouldn't put it in a jar because we'd be like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then there's ways that we can actually test it to see if it's lye heavy. And if a soap,
super fat too, if it's super fat, it'll take care of itself in that regard.
and that's the thing too, is most shaving soaps, I mean, I don't know other people's recipes, but generally in my experience is most people are going to super fat their soaps, just they're putting extra oil in just to make it more moisturizing or some other type of result they're looking for in the shaving soap, because there's lots of different qualities to a soap that you're trying to create for the user. Slickness, cushion, protectiveness, all sorts of different things, but moisturizing is important, and super fatting can help with that. And that will also compensate if, again, you like put too much lye in, you have a lye heavy soap, that super fat is gonna help with that to some degree. But again, you're still, you need a certain like consistency to your finished product. You're you know, it's like when you cook your brownies for too long in the oven, like you just know they're wrong.
You're a culinary artist, Dave. That, I mean, if you can follow a recipe, it's the same thing. You know when that cake's looking off. If there's a recipe you make every week, and sometimes you do forget a certain ingredient, but you know. So, I mean,
yeah, just something's not right about it. And then if your soap is lye heavy, you can always do like, there's something called a zap test, and you can like put your tongue on you can take a little piece of
like
soap.
a 9-volt.
Yeah, and there's like a pretty distinctive experience that you have. But really, the curing time, the soap will become milder, but it should be mild enough to use right when it's done, you know, like saponifying. And then the curing's a lot about water and getting milder. Maybe the pH will go down a little bit because it's, you know, soap tends to be basic. And then the pH will, you know, tend towards more neutral because lye is a very basic thing. So, you know, but in terms of sensitivity, I would highly doubt if the lye was the issue that the soap would even make it into the marketplace, because it just would probably be messed up to begin with, and
it wouldn't.
No,
It'd probably be more itchy on the skin than burning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. And
our experience with lye is that.
Yeah, I had a whole thing of lye, like a glass jar, like the glass jar burst and got all over me from my waist down, and I know exactly what it feels like.
But you use vinegar. We keep vinegar at our, at bay, because that'll neutralize the lye. So she was splashing vinegar on herself, and it worked. It neutralized it. So I mean, if people want to experiment with that, if they really think that it's lye, keep some vinegar in your kit, and if you feel it burning, slap some of that on there and see if it neutralizes it immediately. If it doesn't neutralize it immediately, that's the fragrance. It's not lye. But we feel it's very highly unlikely that it would be lye. Then the thing is, there's over 300 artisans out there now. There's new guys coming in every day. Cost of entry is so low. You don't need to take a test. So, I mean, I really think it's fragrance oils. And I think it's customers. Everyone wants to please their customers. So if a customer's asking for a stronger soap scent, and they do all the time, I have to shut people down. I'm like, sorry. I mean, we have to go by safe usage guidelines. Otherwise, we could risk burning you, our customers. So, and I don't think the new guys or the newbies, new artisans or weekend warriors, whatever they are, kitchen cooks, often know this to be true. So they could be just doing it unintentionally, obviously, but just to please their customers. So we're all part of the problem in that way. Like, the customer wants it. You want to make the customer happy, but at the same time, that could be part of the problem. I mean, I can expect it.
So just a quick answer here. Couple words. Oh, no, because I kind of want to use this to move on to the next thing. And if I let you go, God knows, we might be here for 2 hours. So would you say it is a minute amount of customers that complain about having reactions to a fragrance?
For us, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's going to be certain things like, you know, cinnamon and clove are a good example. That, I mean, there's going to be certain things that have a tendency to cause more warm sensations for people, but
High probability.
but if you're following, so there's an organization called IFRA, which is the International Fragrance Association, and they've established guidelines for usage rates of certain fragrance compounds. And a lot of fragrance oil manufacturers in the United States, even, is a pretty well self-regulated group. They follow these guidelines, and they have their formulas sort of, there's like a sheet you can get that talks about the usage rate of that particular thing in different types of products, bath and body products, rinse off products, leave on products. So that organization is really helpful to get a sense of like what is a good usage rate. That still doesn't eliminate somebody just being straight up allergic to something. And if that happens, I mean, you can't control that. So, you know, for us, like, you know, if somebody says I'm scared of reacting to stuff, I'm very sensitive, and it's like, well, we sell samples, you can always do a patch test. But also, like, you know, if you're really worried about it, scentless is a great way to go, because, you know, you can't know ever, like with you know, fragrance oils, like,
it's a subjective experience, just like the sense of smell is too. So you can't guess. What I will say, though, before I cut you off, samples. That's why we offer all of our scents in aftershave samples, because if you're going to react, the best way to learn if you're allergic to something or not is by just using a sample rather than investing in a full puck of soap or an aftershave. And an aftershave is going to tell you more than a soap sample will, because you're leaving it on. So you'll know very soon if you're allergic to that or not, and then you can make up your mind whether you want to buy a soap or whatever after the fact. But that's why samples are important. I know they're a bitch for a lot of us, they're a pain in the butt, but they're so worth it as a strategy when it comes to finding out what you may or may not be allergic to.
Okay, well, guys, so back to my original point here. We went off on a little bit of a tangent there. You guys said about 3 minutes ago that it is a small amount of people that are getting reactions. Do you feel...
With us,
yes,
for
you guys. For you guys. With this study, or whatever you're calling it, that Ken is doing on his channel, generally speaking, it's going to still be a small amount probably that people say they may have a reaction to one of your soaps. Would this study, if it comes out, say it's and I haven't seen the numbers that Ken has gotten, but let's just say 100 shavers answered the questionnaire, and 10 of them are some of your scents. Would you feel pressure to change the amount of fragrance you put into your soaps, or are you or would you not want to adjust for that small amount of people?
Well, it might not be the amount we're putting in. It's just one of the ingredients in the fragrance. So no matter what level it's in there, they could also just be reacting to. And when we offer more than 70 scents and samples on top of that, we're really giving people ways of figuring it out for themselves. So I don't know if it would, I mean, unless everyone's reacting to it, then it would be a cause for concern. But I mean, like, that's like anything in life. Some people can't eat strawberries, so you don't take them off the menu. I mean, you got to know what you're allergic to and what you're not. It's about personal responsibility to some extent. However, we do take full responsibility when something happens like that. I mean, like, we try to work with people on these things, but that is what was the main, like, push to offering samples, I think. What do you think?
Well, I mean, if there were a bunch of people under any circumstance that were experiencing an issue with a fragrance, we used to have this fragrance called Autumn Factory.
Yes. Fine example.
And we have a lot of people that request it every fall, but we don't produce it anymore because it causes too many problems. And, you know, we hate to give anybody a bad time with our fragrances. there, we don't want anybody to have difficulty with our fragrances or anything that they're experiencing with us. And I think if we're getting feedback from customers, too often about something, we'll either put a warning with that product.
Yes.
And I mean, on all of our labels is external use only, discontinued irritation occurs. And if people, have a hard time with a fragrance, and we're seeing this, more than a couple times from somebody, because we sell a lot of stuff. We have a pretty high volume, so we get a lot of exposure for our, there's a BBS soap maker who sells 100 units a year, and then we're doing thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of containers of soap all over the world, annually. So issues will surface. It's theoretically a little quicker if there is going to be something that comes up, and then we look to see, hey, do we need to make a change here? But most of the stuff that's been problematic, we just, if we can't tone it down, and usually we know why, because again, it's like these warming scents or things that we know have a tendency to cause more irritation in people. We don't make it anymore. So
it just makes no sense to sell something that's hurting people. I mean, like, that's like, the satanic panic in the 80s, bands getting their, fans to kill themselves. Makes no sense business-wise. Like, I mean, you don't want to do that. Yeah.
Right. And we don't want people to not feel like they can't come to, we want people to be happy. So if they have an issue or reaction with our product,
we want to know.
We have a responsibility to know that, to, be able to mitigate it and see what we can do, because we don't want that. Nobody wins there at all. And there's so many wonderful things that aren't going to cause issues for people. But we do follow,
the EU certification is even more intense than FDA. Like, the stuff that they have us put on the label, which we put on our, do we put on our labels here? No, but the stuff we have to make known allergens known on the ingredient label for Europe, where here you don't have.
Yeah, there's just different label disclosure guidelines for EU sales. So
we're even more on top of it, I think. We're more aware of these possible issues.
All right, guys, so we are actually going to get into the questions from the audience right now. Usually they have a tendency to be some serious, some will be a little goofy. So I'll go ahead and whatever shows up in front of me first. So because the replay does not show the questions, I will be reading the questions before you answer. From Shade326, why is Son of Honeysuckle such a banger?
what does that mean?
I don't know. Is that like British colloquialism?
No.
Yeah.
So Ken will switch between two modes. He'll switch from his hood mode, which banger is a little bit more of an urban term, and then he'll switch sometimes to his educated vernacular. So yeah, banger is like, why is it just so goddamn good?
Right on. You kids and your lingo. Well, I mean, because it smells like Japanese honeysuckle. I mean, especially if you have a scent memory and a connection to that from your childhood or whatnot, I think that only makes it stronger. So I would imagine if he thinks that, there was a honeysuckle bush somewhere in his life.
I think it's rare, and it was such a cool thing because it's rare to just be, okay, something smells like roses or something smells like vanilla. I mean, it can have a lot of different permutation. It could be vanilla with amber or vanilla with this,
overtones,
or tea roses or something. But honeysuckle is honeysuckle. It is one thing it smells like, and this is exactly like that.
Yeah.
It's a very specific thing that you're not, it's honeysuckle with this or that. It's just,
it's like lilac. I think lilac is another note like that. That's just
really powerful and direct and clear. So that's probably why.
The loudest voice in the room.
All right, so from the Dude of Shaving, and which I want to remind everybody, or just tell everybody, and wish Junior Gonzalez, the Dude of Shaving, a happy birthday. Today is his birthday. So go ahead and throw that. So the Dude of Shaving asks, will the Witch Shavers Roundtable come back?
You put him up to that, David, didn't you?
No, he's been asking me, and I always think that's up to Doug, man.
Yeah, we've definitely talked about it here and there, and it might actually happen. David's so involved with all these things right now that I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we'll find the time. And it really is about putting together the new team. I don't know if we could get the original band back together, but I do have some people in mind, and I've thought about this for the last year, if we were to do it, how that would go down. It's kind of like been this filtering process of, who's still around and who I think would add to it. I don't know. It's always tough because who do you put on the team? There's so many cool people, and everyone's got their own take on it. And but I think, the time we're getting closer, because you see all these new shows and podcasts popping up, and it's like it's time for the OGs to take this, take it back. I think, and no,
and
actually, I think it's great.
A lot of the people that come in real hot and heavy, they figure out how demanding and difficult it is, and they end up fizzling out after about 6 months.
We did it 3 years. I missed every Saturday night for 3 years.
Right.
So we have another one here. Why do colors of aftershaves change? I have original clown fruit, and it is like a dark red amber-like color, but new is like a light yellowish. And this is from Hidman27.
So they change. So sometimes it's because raw materials change.
Natural materials.
It can be also, we use for colorants, and we do use some colorants in our aftershaves, but it's all natural colorants that we use only. So sandalwood, sometimes wormwood, chlorophyll, which can all affect the color. And it's just...
It's a natural product. And there's oxidation to consider. Every time you open up the bottle, you're exposing it to oxygen every day. And for that reason, I also, if you're like me and collect vintage aftershaves, if there's more air in the bottle than the aftershave, shy away from that, because it's probably turned because of the amount of oxygen now in the bottle. So that'll change it. Again, natural products, depends where they're sourced from. They all differently. You can get pine from California. You can get pine from Massachusetts, the essential oil. It'll look different in color. It has to do with the soil it's grown in, the minerals it's exposed to. So I mean, there's all these different natural reasons why it'll change color. The amount of time it has in the sun. Are you storing it on a windowsill? Are you storing it under your sink? Is it fresher? I mean, if you're comparing clown fruit from 4 years ago, the clown fruit that just came out this year, time will definitely have a lot to do with it. And again, where we were sourcing the ingredients then. But I mean, that's really it. I mean, look at like vanilla, like a scent like vanilla. Like the vanillins will also change. It'll get darker too. I mean, it's just natural ingredients are unpredictable like that. Mm-hmm. Even synthetic ingredients can be unpredictable as well.
So this is from Chris Wilkins, 79. Have you guys considered a Barbasol original scent?
Cad is the original, but I mean, Cad is the original Barbasol scent.
All right, maybe he missed that one. Maybe he missed all the drama behind all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what a story that was.
I know.
Oh my God.
Oh, that was an adventure, and that may be something we have to revisit when the Wet Shavers Roundtable ever does return, because, there's a lot of stuff that went into all that. So this is from Banaka Brunette. Can you make a cherry scent for Valentine's Day?
That's interesting.
I love cherry.
Never done a cherry scent for Valentine's.
You make cherry's right up my alley, so I would love a cherry scent.
Yeah, we haven't played around with cherry much.
Tokyo Rose. Bring back Tokyo Rose, baby. CK6.
Well, Tokyo Rose, I mean, that we have been talking about that. It's funny because people
Thank you, Art.
When we did Tokyo Rose before, I'd get a few emails every now and then, people getting offended by the name and stuff like that. So it's like, and I was going to bring it back this summer, but with the heating up in the streets, with everyone protesting this, that, and the other thing, I didn't want to offend anybody. So, like, honestly, it's just another cool war story to me, like John Frum is. I like interesting side note stories that happened during the war times, or just in history in general. I think those are far more interesting because less people know about them. And it's, again, just little pockets of history, and that's just another one. So I think people are confusing it or just getting, I don't know. People get offended for everything nowadays. But it's never my intent to offend anybody. I don't want to. I just want to tell a cool story. So it
Hey,
may
dude,
have made.
we are in the era of fucking complainers. If people could fucking complain about something, they absolutely will. It is a very soft society in general, and that's just the way it is, dude. I know it's not okay to be beating your children, but I think society is missing the occasional ass whooping because this generation of men, in particular, are softer than ever before. They're definitely not like we're not made the same as we were back in World War II. That's for damn sure. So this one's from Callie's Groom Room. After 9 years in the business, what drives you to continue innovating? We have under 5 minutes, so sum it up.
We love what we do. It's my passion. I mean, if I wasn't doing it, I'd be buying it from someone else. Like, I mean, this is the only reason why we ever started making soap is because I couldn't find a bay rum soap. So I had to make one for myself. And then I sent it to Mantic because I was writing for Sharpologist at the time and sent the other one to Leisure Guy. And they both were like, when is this on sale? So, I mean, like, it just comes out of, I make stuff for myself. It just so happens other people like that too. So it's a win-win. But I mean, that's where it all began. So it's just out of our own passion and interest.
Well, and then Douglas is like this like bottomless well of ideas constant. Like you've never been around anybody who has as many original thoughts in a day as this person. So it would take us hundreds of years to manifest all the crazy concepts that come into his head. That's just the way he's
butter in my whiskers.
You know, I come up with a scent once every 2 years, and he comes up with like 3 cents a day. So it's just how he's wired.
Yeah. So this is going to be the last question for us. We got a couple minutes left. If there was one PAA scent to represent the entire brand, which would it be?
I don't care for questions like that because I don't even have a favorite color. I think when you think like that, you limit yourself, and I think that says a lot about our society. I think that's what it's born out of. And I'm not dismissing this question. I don't think like that.
Well, I think there's a few scents that like are really, 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 really special. And
greatest hits, maybe.
You know, I think Alphine is like, and everything has a time, everything has a story, everything has like something that sort of gives it a parameter.
Gives it life.
But Alphine was a really big deal, and Atomic Age Bay Rum, I think, would be like the two that pop into my head is like those are like probably our most precious things. I could
Alphine. If I could do any one scent for the rest of my life, it would probably be Alphine. Like if I had to. But I don't know if that represents our entire brand. But when I did create that scent, it was like, Alphine. It was like, at last, you know, I figured out how to perfume properly. Like I really felt like I'd arrived.
Yeah, it was just like a milestone, and it took us to another place. So there isn't one that sums everything up because there's been a lot of experiences. But Alphine definitely is a big one. Atomic Age Bay Rum's a big one. Sangre is a big one.
Sangre Drago,
CAD, you know, is
Future
too.
Fiction. I mean, they all have their own stories and their own they're just
Future Fiction,
different colors on our palette, I guess.
All right, guys, about 30 seconds. Anything you guys want to plug or connect? We are running out of time.
It's coming, folks. Hotel Cecil. It's gonna be badass. Trust me, you're gonna want this in your den. It's an homage to the classic, iconic Burma shave. This scent has been lost to history. I mean, it's just awesome. We've been passing out samples for the last couple months, so you probably got one in your if you've ordered from us since then. But if not, either wait for a sample to come out or just hop in line and grab it because it's awesome. David will let you know in a review. I'm sure he should be getting it tomorrow.
It's a fun experience.
Oh yeah, and the whole story around
there's a whole world. It's
just a continuation of a PAA universe and saga. For those of you who don't follow what we do, we've created this whole universe of characters and stories that continue all throughout our 9 years.
All right, Douglas. All right, Douglas. I gotta cut you off because there's something I want to say, guys. Just remember, in this community, what makes it special is not all the shave soaps. It's not all the aftershaves. It's the people and the relationships that we build here. Don't ruin relationships with trying to be right all the time. How about we just get it right, love one another, get excited about what we're doing here, the big picture, man, and just love each other, man. So, hey, with that being said, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you guys, Doug and Fran, and I'll catch you on the next shave.
Peace.